Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. Hey there, poddies. It is the end of December. Happy New Year's Eve. If you are listening on New Year's Eve, then, join me in a celebratory glass of fizz and a wave goodbye almost to the year that has been 2019. I'm very, very excited. I've also realized as I'm recording this that December definitely has 31 days. So actually, if you are joining me today is the day before New Year's Eve. Happy penultimate day of December. Doesn't really have the same ring to it, but we'll go with it. Either way, I hope you are eating and drinking your way through the holidays. It is going to be phenomenal. From me personally, I've been spending some time with friends and family. I travelled up to Twickenham in London for Christmas Day to spend that with some friends and had the best time. And on Boxing Day, apparently we're bouldering. Now, obviously, I'm recording this episode in advance, so I have no idea how the bouldering will go yet. Could be the kind of thing where it goes really, really well, and it turns out that bouldering is a sport that I never knew that I was good at, but actually secretly am. Or the alternate version of that, and this is one that I'm more expecting, I will come back in some kind of cast. So I don't know how I will be feeling at this point in January, but either way, I will be happy and excited and have drunk an awful lot of wine over the festive period. I've actually been fortunate enough this year to have been asked to spend time with some really good friends over Christmas Day and Boxing Day, some of my family, which is always nice, and I'm even seeing a couple of amazing poddies who are also London based this year over the festive period. So there you go. If you are hanging out in London over the Christmas holidays, the Christmas period, whatever we're going to call it now, then, drop me a little email. I may yet be around in a corner of London, available for coffee, cake, and comedy. Obviously, all of those things will be at separate times. So if you want a comedy slot, book early. It's also a really good time of year because we've had some more reviews. Thank you so much. If you have been giving us reviews on iTunes, I know iTunes can be an absolute killer to try and upload reviews onto. So I do appreciate any time out that you do take. We had a really lovely one the other day from lovely Tours Grantham, who said it was a must listen for anyone wanting a profitable business. She said, "What I love most about this podcast is that the host, Jessica, is unafraid to share an opinion." You can literally hear the smile in my voice at this point. Unafraid to share an opinion that goes against what everyone else says. She says she shares easy to digest information that's actionable, smart, and so not fluffy that you'd crack your teeth trying to chew on it. She's got years of sales experience and a proven track record of getting results for her clients. So she's coming up with the good stuff here. Take a listen. You won't regret it. Thank you so much. And also, if you do get stuck leaving a review on iTunes, because iTunes can be so challenging, you can leave it on any other major podcast player too. So if you fancy heading over to Podbean, Stitcher, Pandora, or anywhere else that we keep the podcast these days, please feel free to go over there. Side note, we also got a lot of feedback when I was reading out the intro for another episode recently where I shared that some people had very kindly written reviews. And we got a lot of emails and messages from people who were like, I did not know that was my Apple iTunes sign-up name. So I now have to go and leave a bunch of reviews for other people's podcasts and things. And that's the only time that I will then find out how I signed up to Apple. So if you get a review on your podcast, here's looking at you, like Seth Godin, and it's something like, I don't know, Jess loves dogs, that's probably going to be me, because I don't know what my Apple iTunes sign-up name was either. So there we go. Who knows? You might have something incredibly jazzy stacked up. But today is not just about iTunes reviews, although they are appreciated. It's also about what you can work on when your business is quiet. And if you're anything like me, I love Christmas. I get very excited about having time out, but I also love resting. And after the resting bit, I love, working again. I don't know whether this is something that happens to entrepreneurs specifically. I think that I was like it even when I was working in corporate. I would just have this time off and my brain would get a chance to rest. And then I'd be like, oh my goodness, I have to do this thing and that thing. And I want to do all of these other things too. And that's where I want to go with today's episode. Is just, if you are sat there over the Christmas period and you're thinking, yeah, this is nice, but also like, I want to get some work done. I want to make sure that I set myself up for the most profitable January and, 2020. Then here are some kind of key tips and things that you can work on over that time of year when life is quiet, but also your business is quiet. When you're not perhaps seeing clients every week, you're not so bunged up with client work that you can't spare a moment for yourself, for your own business, for your own development, and just really move into a space where you actually have the year that you really want, where it is all planned out and mapped out and calm, and you feel really confident about your sales plan for next year. So let's dive in and find out the key aspects that you will want to be working on when your business really is quiet, when you have that time and energy to focus, and it doesn't all have to be on somebody else. So the first part of this obviously is decompression. Now, we all know that usually I love to have 3 points when I'm recording a podcast or writing an email. I'm kind of OCD about the fact that I really like having 3 points. I just think the rhetorical triad is a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't make this episode into 3 points. It had to be 4, which is throwing my brain out a little bit, but I'm going to work through. I'm going to power through because it's Christmas, because we're festive and all of that good stuff. So the first part here is this idea of decompression and de-stressing, getting out of your own head, and actually taking some time out to just relax. I don't know about you, but I've got to the end of 2019 and I'm tired. I have loved working with my clients this year, and side note, my clients are amazing people. They're also incredibly intelligent, which means a lot of the questions that I get asked day to day are relatively complex. And I'm at the end of this year. It's been a long year personally. It's been a very, very intellectual year professionally. I've watched some amazing client results, and I've seen some clients really wading through the treacle to get to those results. And I'm tired. Like, I'm at the end of this year thinking, oh my God, please just the 20th, just like hurry up, like get here. Let me just eat mince pies and do nothing for 2 weeks because I just need brain space. And I've been talking to a couple of friends about this, my biz besties in the space, and we've all agreed that we're ready to hermit, we're ready to hibernate, and actually we're kind of okay with having 2 weeks off to just do nothing. We have no plans. I don't know whether that makes us look all very glamorous or whether it makes us look like maybe we should get lives or something. I'm not sure. But this decompression time is really, really important for you. It's important for your business. And it's actually one of the best things you can do when your business is quiet. Because guess what? The rest of the year is always really busy. It's really unusual that we get these kind of key time periods where very, very few people are working or are doing anything. And so actually, when it's kind of like, I hear this all the time with people who have children, they're like, when your baby sleeps, you sleep. When your clients sleep, you sleep. Or not sleep, but when your clients are all off, don't sit there and work all the time. Like, take some time, decompress, accept that this has been a long year and that your brain needs some Netflix binging and chewing gum for the mind, and not to be working at full capacity while everybody else is just kind of sleeping and chilling out. Now, I know you're going to be listening to this and being like, but Jess, I've got to sell and it's Christmas and everyone's telling me that I'm going to miss out this opportunity if I don't sell in December because like nobody else will be, etc. This is why you batch content. This is why you do it all before, so that during these 2 weeks you can just be like, whatever, veg. That is your main plan right now. So decompression is key. And the reason it's so key is not just to make sure that you catch up on rest and to recuperate a little bit so that you're not a rat bag with your clients in the new year, but also Because when you decompress, when you rest, your brain gets an opportunity to think, you become more creative, and you can actually spend some time doing some proper reflection on you as a human being. Like, how did you show up this year? Are you happy with the person that you've been this year? Are you happy with the decisions that you've made? Have you, given yourself good examples of 360-degree leadership? You can look at your business and reflect on that and how that went, and obviously your family and other relationships as well. The second part to this is about debriefing. And I know that we've talked a lot about planning in other episodes, so I'm kind of not going to dig too much into this, but when your business is quiet and you've done your decompression time and you've reflected a little bit on how you want to show up next year, how you showed up this year, and what you would like to do, see, or change in 2020, it's a really good idea to do a quick debrief of what worked really well in 2019, what didn't, what do we want to change for next time, what brought us joy, what didn't, what kind of clients did we love working with, and what kind of clients challenged us and perhaps made us better, or actually perhaps made our lives more difficult. Yeah. Look at opportunities. What opportunities do you want to take into next year? Perhaps you've done lots of joint ventures or joint partnerships this year, and you're thinking, well, actually next year I just want to launch my own stuff. I want to just do my own thing. For me, I always reflect upon the learning and development opportunities that I've had. So for me, it will be learning or reflecting on, the coaches that I've worked with over that year, the investments that I've made, how they've paid off, if I've enjoyed it, if I want to go into a different direction next time. Number 3 is about follow-ups and relationship building. Now, this is really important. We do this thing where we kind of sit back during these quiet periods in business, and a lot of people will only use this time to decompress and debrief, to give their brain a rest, to think about what they want moving forward, and to plan. And that's totally cool. If you are that person who is decompressing and debriefing, you're officially doing one stage more than I will be, because I think I'm just going to be all about the decompressing this year. It's just going to be all about the decompressing, the cheese on toast, the wine. But if you want to go further, if you are really wanting to use this time, perhaps you're bored of spending time playing board games or with your family, or if your siblings are driving you crazy, it's a good time to look at your follow-ups and your relationship building activities when business is quiet, because it's a good time for other people to also be able to respond. Following up with your previous clients, how are they getting on now? Are they doing okay? Do they need more support? Do they need a recommendation, a referral? Is there anything you can do for them? Equally, can they provide a recommendation or a referral? Do they need more work with you, or do they need more work with somebody else that you can recommend them to? These kinds of things, following up with previous clients, following up with everybody who's been a no, and just checking in how they're getting on. Did they ever go ahead and make an investment in something? Did it end up working? Did it not? This is just a time exercise that invites more conversations. And inviting more conversations means inviting more cash into your business. Because ultimately, when we're having conversations, especially these sorts of chats where, we're reaching out to people, we're finding out, and we're demonstrating that we care what's happened in their business, or what's happened in their life, or what's happened with their health, even if we're not working with them anymore, or even if they said no to us, it demonstrates that ultimately we have that focus that we keep talking about on building relationships. Lots of people this year have really talked about how they build relationships, how relationships are everything, how integrity is everything, but their actions don't always follow up. Personally, I am not going to start wearing a t-shirt with "I build relationships" or "I act with integrity" written on them, because I think that would be very distracting, but also because my actions, I hope, are always showing that I do those things. I reach out to people. In fact, I reached out to somebody who left a lovely review for the podcast, and I knew who it was, and they left a review and it said that they were having a bit of a tough time. So I sent them an email and said, look, I hope everything's okay. That's not because I sit here and think strategically, FYI, as a salesperson. I don't sit there and think, oh my God, wow, I know that person's having a tough time. Let me jump into their inbox, right? It's called being a good human. It's called being interested in your community, invested in your community, regardless of necessarily whether they're buying or not at that time. Inviting these conversations and having those chats with people and taking the time to make them feel valued or understand that they are valued, in the case of my community, that actually makes people feel good and makes them want to work with you. Right? So if your business, if you're going through a quiet period, you don't have clients to deal with, now is the time to check in, follow up, have those conversations, build and solidify those relationships. And it will work really, really well to just make your community understand that they really are a valued part of your business and that you really are interested and invested in them, and that they are then safe to buy from you or to refer people to you or to recommend your services. And that's a huge thing in the current market where everyone worries about being burnt and all that kind of stuff. And then finally, let's talk about refreshing here. So all year, and this, let's just talk about this, grinding my gears for a sec before we hop back, right? But all year, all I hear, rhyming, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. All year, all I hear is people saying, oh, Jess, I would love to sell more, but I've just got to, rewrite my website copy. Or, Jess, I would love to spend more time on sales activities, but I've just got to, get into Canva, make some more images. Please do not do that during busy periods of the year. It's the worst thing you can do. You do not need a website that is fully up to date all of the time. Otherwise you'd be refreshing it literally every 3 or 4 weeks. Spend quiet time doing those things when you've actually had a chance to reflect, and you can make sure that those things are then provided to the highest quality and completed to the highest standard, rather than just kind of bashed out because you have to get it done. Really take the time, if you're going to refresh things, to do it well. And that's why you should be doing this at quieter business times of the year. So thinking about, what have you just not had the time for this year, or what have you had to rush this year? Is it your welcome sequence? That personally is what I've literally just spent this week working on. So if you are listening to this on the 30th of December, then we may actually have a new welcome sequence up and running. Ooh, that's exciting, isn't it? But this is my time to rest and recharge. So I've been spending more time working on the things that I want to refresh in my business, and my welcome sequence is one of those things. It might be your website copy. That might need a refresh. It might be your imagery, social media graphics, lots and lots of different things. But these are things that you want to give time and attention to. And so if your business is quiet, if you're not filled with clients, it's a great time to sit back and actually be able to have the time to refresh things properly to that high standard, when you're not having to worry about fitting it in between client calls or attending events or, holding intensives or anything. You can actually just sit down, your brain is feeling more creative, you're feeling really relaxed, and get these things done. So there you go. If you are sat there, if you're thinking, I could do a little bit of work today, I could think about potentially opening the laptop, then those are the 4 things that I would encourage you to do. Get some decompression time. Get your brain into the most creative mode possible. Really debrief and reflect on what worked, what didn't. Follow up and do your relationship building or relationship solidifying activities. And then finally, if you've got time, energy, and have run out of wine, then think about your refresh. Okay, refresh your copy, refresh your website look, your social media images, your welcome sequences, or anything you haven't had time to do this year. When I see you next, it will be in the new year. It'll be in the new style of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast, which is very, very exciting. Remember, we are moving to having fewer guest episodes of the Smart Leaders Sell show. So you won't be seeing a guest episode every single Friday. Instead, we're going to be having one to 2 guests potentially a month. And these are going to be super special people that I've dragged in kicking and screaming with excitement, obviously not pain or torturous activities, who are really, really excited to share their wisdom, share their journey, and share some epic breakthroughs for you all. Have a wonderful new year. Have a fantastic time celebrating. And if you do get time and you'd like to share how the Smart Leader Self podcast has impacted you this year, please do leave a review over on iTunes or your major podcast player, or even email me, jessica@jessicaramon.com. I'd love to know how you've gone. I'll see you in the next episode.